Today we have the best cards at each position right now in Madden 25 Ultimate Team. The concept for this video pretty simple. We're just going to hop right into it and get started with our quarterbacks today. So at quarterback, I am genuinely torn between three people because I think they all have their own strengths. So Jaden Daniels, his strength is going to be his legs and the fact he's a righty, and that's why you're not going to see Mike Vick on here, although Mike Vick is definitely the strongest runner in this game. He is a lefty, and lefties have problems versus the A-gap blitz. A-gap is still really good in this game. It still is. But Jaden Daniels, as a runner, is that guy. And if you have him, he's free. Like, if you did your RP, I mean, he wasn't free for you in 24, but he's free now, so you don't got to spend any more coins. If you have him, great. If you still haven't gotten your RPs and still kind of torn on who to choose, Jaden Daniels is not a terrible option. He really is not. I think he's definitely has an argument for the top QB spot, depending on play style. Next up is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is here, and his strength is the fact that he does get gift wrap for 1 AP. His X factors are nothing too special. You're pretty much just running, probably Gambit is probably what you're going to run for 0 AP if you're going to use an X factor on him. But gift wrap is the reason why Trevor Lawrence is here today. That is his strength. His stats are also not bad. His speed is also not terrible either as he's able to run, but be a little bit careful because his carrying is only 66. And finally, Caleb Williams. The reason why he's here is just because of his stats, really. I mean, his stats are really good as a passer. You see that there's holes on Trevor Lawrence, and there's even holes on Jaden Daniels. Look at his 82 deep accuracy. We're on Caleb. It's all covered up as far as accuracy stats go. His speed's good enough. As a ball carrier, 70 ball carrying with a solid juke move. And for his X factors, he does get some special ones like playmaker, no look dead eye, or even a gutsy scrambler, but does get closer as his ability, which is kind of tough to see. But it is what it is. So you're kind of in a spot where you have to choose one of these three quarterbacks, and I think if you choose any of these three, you're in a good spot right now. But I do love to see variety at the QB position, depending on how you play the game, depending on your play style. If you're looking to add any of these cards to your team today, head to my sponsor, MMO EXP. Cheap, fast, reliable mug coins. Use code FREDDY at checkout for 5% off. A link for their website is in the description. At running back, we got two guys again. Ricky Williams, I think, is the RB1. Look at his weight. His weight is really good, 230, which is a big thing in this game. Weight on a running back or on any ball carrier is really good, especially when you don't have DBs that can tackle that well. So Ricky Williams, he's going for 1.7 for a good reason. He's got good speed, acceleration, weight, and even some pretty good stats to back it up. If the quick spin was still a thing, he would not be in this video, but it's not, so here he is. And behind him, a much cheaper option, actually a free option if you have him. 85 Mike Allstott is still really good if you're still using him. I mean, if you're using him, you know how special this card is. Even though he's not the fastest guy, you're probably not breaking those crazy big runs, but you are breaking tackles that really no other running back in this game is breaking, and you also do have really good acceleration and pretty good COD on a power back. And you take a look at a guy like, Derrick Henry, who is one of the more traditional power backs in this game right now. He's got low COD and pretty low acceleration compared to Allstott. And not to mention, Allstott can be put on a theme team if you should have a 20 theme team. So I'm looking at him like he has 85 speed with 88 acceleration. That's the way I look at this card. But Allstott, amazing if you don't have the 1.7 to shell out, which most likely you don't. Or you can go get Chris Johnson if you don't want to go down that road. But Mike Allstott, if you still don't believe the hype on this card, trust me, just give him a try for one game. Downgrade one of your Season 1 champions, put it on Allstott, and let him cook. He is the real deal. I know people don't see the vision, but until you use him, you will not see the vision. Fullback is pretty much a layup. It's kind of use check. Good speed and really good run block and impact block stats. Only thing I don't like about this card is his weight at fullback. Hopefully we do get like a heavier fullback where I think it will matter, especially like as far as ball carrying goes. I guess you could use Allstott if you use your fullback a lot and he does get a lot of touches. But even like Allstott, these stats are good. His impact block and his lead block, but not the rest of them. So keep that in mind. But I think use check has to be the guy here. We don't, fullback's not a very deep position right now in Madden 25. At wide receiver, we got 4 names. Usually I give you guys 3 for receiver and corner. But, of course, Tyreek Hill, 90 speed, 90 acceleration, fastest wide receiver in the game. 5'10", good deep route running. That 90 deep route running, I mean, if he even had like 88 speed, the 90 deep route running to me is what does it. It is really, if the quick spin was still a thing, this car would be absolutely broken. But yeah, the 90 deep route running is the big thing. It's always been a threshold in Madden. It still is. You're going to see Tyreek Hill get separation on those deep routes that really no other receiver is going to get unless you boost it, even as this card. If you are able to boost deep route running, try to do it, even if you have the 300K Tyreek Hill with 88 speed. But damn, this card is, I mean, they did a good job with this one. I would say they did a pretty good job here. Ankle breaker, evasive. I probably wouldn't run these unless you have room. Then just run evasive. Why not? But I'm not loving. I mean, if you yak them up, that'd be crazy. But I mean, the stats itself, they do enough. Xavier Worthy has to be here. 5'11", 89 speed, 89 acceleration, and again, no 90 route running unless you boost it. That's why I like Tyreek Hill so much. I would take Tyreek Hill over Worthy right now, but stats are still great. Good carrying, good juke, good spin, all that stuff's there for Worthy. This card's been out for a while. I guess 2 weeks, right? So you know how good he is. He's a monster. And we have Roma Dunze, and I do have an option if you don't have Roma Dunze or put your RPs elsewhere, which honestly wouldn't be a bad decision. I just think this Roma Dunze, again, he's another one of those cards that I look at through the lens of you have a 20 theme team. So I'm looking at him like he's got 88 speed and 89 acceleration with these stats and the build and the after the catch and how Rome's old RP played, which is really good compared to this one. So I mean, this card's just going to be that slight upgrade to keep Rome relevant. Still a really good card. Because again, I'm looking at him like he's got 88 speed at 6'3" with 89 acceleration and pretty good route runner. I'd probably keep him honestly in the slot and leave these two guys on the outside just to burn the defense. Or you just run some jet sweeps with Tyreek Hill. And then finally, Maserati Marv. I think he is still really good. 6'3", 87 speed, 87 acceleration, 85 juke move, 87 COD. But the main reason why he's here is if you are willing to use all your AP, all your, everything on your double me X factor, I think it is actually really good in this game right now. Also, wide receiver apprentice is also a pretty good one. And the best part about these AKAs is that you're able to get rid of these abilities. On a guy like Caleb Williams, if we go back to Caleb, you cannot get rid of closers. So you're stuck in either you're going to run 2 AP on Caleb and run one of his ability X factors, or you're going to run one of his X factors and then you have to run closer, which is not the great, let's be honest. Most games in Madden, they don't even go to the point where you're even going to need closer. I mean, the second half, yeah, it's only the second half, but you're not really going to need, you know what I mean? Like a lot of games, you're going to go through and you're not even going to use his ability. But I don't know. That's my opinion. That's why I do like the AKA guys, because you're able to take off these X factors. And the same, of course, does go for Reek as well. You're able to get rid of these, and you can run 0 AP, yak him up, or wide receiver apprentice for 1 AP, or whatever the case is. You're able to do that, which I really do like. So I do keep that in mind. Going forward throughout the game, I do think there's a lot of value in being able to take off that ability. Unless you're someone like Trevor Lawrence, who that ability is good. It's gift wrapped. You want to run that. So there are pros and cons each way. At tight end, it's honestly a pretty. It's a position where you have to pay that premium price to get the best player. Because Brock Bowers, 85 speed, is 2 speed less than Vernon Davis. But I think Tony Gonzalez is our number 1 right now. And even the Kyle Pitts we're going to get on, when October 1st, when the season ends, or when the competitive season ends, he's not touching Tony or Vernon. He's not. He's just not. He's simply not. So you have Kyle Pitts. I mean, the route running's not bad on Kyle Pitts, but look at Tony. Tony's going to be a really good short yardage red zone guy. But I think between Tony and Vernon, there's pros and cons. Again, Tony has the worst, run blocking and the worst deep route running, but he's 2 inches short. He's 2 inches taller than Vernon Davis. And I think Vernon is better after the catch, right? But without the quick spin, it's pretty marginal between these two guys. It really is. And you might be looking and saying, Tony's got better run block, but it's the impact block stat on Vernon Davis that, in my eyes, makes him a better run blocker. Be able to kind of get that first contact and take out a DB. That's where impact block's going to come in. So I think either Vernon or Tony are paying a premium price tag, but you pay for either 1A or 1B or 1B or 1A. It's really what it comes down to. On the offensive line, I am someone that values speed when the speed is an option for you. I always have been. I always will be. I think speed on the offensive line is really, really good, especially when in this game it feels like you have good run block stats and good pass block stats, but it still feels like it doesn't do what it should. Having that speed is just nice on 0-1 trap runs, base runs, any runs where you have guys pulling, or even inside zone runs where you have that double team and then that disengage to the second level. That's where speed's very valuable. And if you have guys with good stats like this, I think Latham is the best offensive lineman in the game because he has the stats and the speed to back it up. Quentin Nelson, very slow, but really good stats. And if you look at the left guard position, there isn't really a guy that I would say is like super fast and someone I really want. You know what I mean? It's just not a thing right now. Center, same thing, quite slow, but Travis Frederick is our best option. Or if, like a Saturday, someone you could throw in there if you need to, but just a pretty bad position. And again, not much speed there, which is always what I look for. Larry Little, pretty decent speed, 64 speed, not terrible, and over 80 in all the stats, which we do like. And then we have Joe Alt, who's pretty fast, 6'8", 322 pounds with good stats. And there's one wild card here where everyone got this card. If you plug and play him around, do it. 70 speed with all over 80 stats. If you want to plug him at guard, center, doesn't matter, wherever your offensive line needs that hole to be filled. Pause. But Travis Clayton is solid because of that speed. I think he needs to be mentioned today, because at least for me, because I love speed on my offensive line. Heading over to defense, and before we do dive into the defense, hit the subscribe button, man. We're on that road to 50,000 subscribers. It's been a very slow road since Madden 25 has come out. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button is, of course, appreciated, and maybe even drop a like while you're down there to help the video out to more people. But Mark Gastineau is my left end. I will say I do like him a little bit more on the inside, but for now he's still a very good outside option. But if the year goes on, you like some more speed off the edge. And Mark Gastineau is like, play him on the inside. His weight is fine. His strength is fine to play at that position. His run stop stats are good enough at that position. But the main thing I look for on the line is acceleration. Acceleration, be able to kind of get that quick burst off a block shed and tackle a running back or even get to the quarterback as fast as possible. I love acceleration on my linemen, so Gastineau needs to be mentioned here today. Right end, we got a guy who's always good speed and acceleration, and good finesse move, and over 80 power moves with traits that look beautiful. What are Mark's traits, by the way? Mark's got 2 or 3. High motor is also a nice one I like having. Even big hitter I like too, so I like Gastineau a lot. Micah Parsons, and then defensive tackle, we got Marty Lyons, 6'5", and look at the stat here, 86 acceleration. Yes, he may not have the best pursuit or the best finesse move, but it's that acceleration in there that I like a lot on Marty Lyons. And behind him, I would go Mean Joe. Mean Joe, more consistent between his speed and his acceleration, but still high acceleration with 80-80 and good against the run. But low pursuit, pretty similar to Marty, but you're kind of doing that trade-off. I like the acceleration. The higher acceleration to me is a little bit of an advantage for sure. Even agility, things like that are nice. So those are my defensive linemen right there. A left outside linebacker is a tough position because Joey Bosa, he's great. He's got great acceleration, right? He has that. He has 89 finesse move, 84 power moves. Traits are perfect. I like him a lot. But for me on outside linebackers, I like having that pure speed. And that's why, Clay Matthews probably would have been the guy still. I like the 80-80. I like the traits, all that stuff. But I got to give it to Charles Haley. I think Charles Haley with these physicals, 6'5", and yes, his pass rush stats are worse, but I'd rather would have these slightly worse pass rush stats. And again, you're not hitting a threshold between him and Joey Bosa, so you rather would have that speed regardless. So I'm going to go Charles Haley here. I don't know if that's going to be, I don't know if people are going to disagree with that, but I think it is. I think it has to be Charles Haley. However, there is one thing I will say. If you can get Joey Bosa +1 finesse move and get him to 90, there's value there. I got to say that. Okay, if you can get him 90 finesse move, that's a big threshold that you're hitting. If you're not boosting that, then just go Charles Haley. And also, I would say save coin, but you're really not saving coin at all. You're really not. But we got middle linebackers, kind of a weak position in this game right now. It kind of is weak. It is. I mean, All-Pro Fred is still this guy for me that I like a lot because of this 85 zone coverage. If you find yourself clicked off or switch sticking or not using, you like having someone that can react in his zone quickly. You like having that. And Fred just kind of moves well. He just plays well from what I've seen, from when I've played against. He's just solid all around. And then Luke Kuechly, look, the linebackers in this game, no one is that complete to me. No one is that complete. It was between Queen and Kuechly for me. And what it came down to was just Kuechly being slightly better against the run. And then, Queen has that +1 zone at 80. But I don't know. I would rather have Kuechly. And then if you kind of go down here, Chance Campbell not on the theme team looks pretty pedestrian. You know what I mean? He's only 70 zone coverage. So I think it's a pretty thin position. I do like some of these guys, like Terrell Dodson. If you have, even if you don't have one of his theme teams, Bills or Seahawks, he's still good as a user, but we're looking at them more complete, good jumping, really good speed, kind of low COD, but good hip power. I like him for that. Only 6 foot though, you know what I mean? So there's not really a guy at this position right now. Hopefully that comes soon. Hopefully, maybe it will. Next up, right outside linebacker. Still the position I hate the most is right outside linebacker in this game. I just don't like this position at all right now still. Dre Greenlaw is someone that should probably be playing middle linebacker, and I actually like him. I like him a lot at middle linebacker, actually. I really do. Yeah, I really like him at middle linebacker. Maybe even over Kuechly, to be completely honest with you. Like, it is pretty close between these two guys, Dre Greenlaw and Kuechly. I mean, the reason why I'm leaning Greenlaw is because of that zone coverage. At middle linebacker, at right outside linebacker, I still think, like, you got to have a guy that can rush the passer if you're going to play them at that position. Like, you still need it. Look at a guy like, Leo Chenal earlier this year. Like, you need it. You need that. And then Andrew Van Ginkel, $500K for this card is crazy just because there wasn't any packs when he came out. Good card, but you're never going to, like, he's just not going to beat the production and how well Lawrence Taylor cards play. He's just not going to do it. And Lawrence Taylor, $500K, I'm not going to say what to do, but it's not a bad, and is his Redux cheaper? Like, $300K? I'm going to go get hands on this card. I'm not even going to lie. I think he's still one of the best cards, and will be for, honestly, a while, because you have these good stats, this good speed, this against the run, and the traits are literally perfect. There's no way to beat that. Cornerback. So at cornerback, I have two guys that I like, whether you play man or zone. Whether you play man or zone, these guys are the two best. Doesn't matter what scheme you're in. So Nate Wiggins is our first one, 88 speed, 6'2", high man, high zone. We also have Night Train Lane. Of course, I don't love this. I do not love this, but at cornerback, I do love this. I do love this with the boom tech. It definitely does play nice and really consistent man and zone. Also, they give Night Train always good hands in this game, which does make a difference as far as dropping picks go. It definitely does. If you don't think it does, trust me, it does. And then we have 80 speed, 88 speed here. And then for the abilities as well, with him being an AKA, you do have options if you want to play man. But pick artist for 1 AP, I probably wouldn't do it. But inside, like if you're playing man, like there are some good ones in here for you. And then for our man and zone guys, for man and man coverage, I like Christian Gonzalez, obviously. Very expensive. Very expensive. And the gauntlet is not easy, so it might be not a very obtainable card. If you're someone that says, oh, I can't do this, then Derek Stingley's a fine option too with high man coverage for the man-to-man schemes out there. And for the zone schemes, Darius Slay. I don't think Darius Slay was playing. He may have been in man yesterday when Drake London gave him the beats there. But yeah, good zone coverage, good man coverage. So those are your options at cornerback. Head over to safety. I know there's a guy who's not on here today that people are going to say he should be on here. But the reason for him not being on here is Javon Holland is the hit power. I like having super complete safeties on my team, guys that like they're the last line of defense for you. And whether it's causing turnovers, forcing fumbles, or even someone that can just make a tackle at the end of the play, hit power, even if you're not going for hit sticks, it still does make a difference on how a card feels when he's tackling and driving a card backwards and things like that. Driving a running back backwards, kind of not giving up those yards and getting kind of pushed through. I do like Holland a lot, but he doesn't check two boxes for me. The first one is the hit power. Second one is the man coverage, not being at 80, normally he's not on here, but Sean Taylor, 80 man, 85 zone, and really good tackling stats, 220, 6'2", with this, with one worse speed and acceleration than Holland. And then this one is like, because I think you can debate Holland over Paul Krause, but I think Krause is just better because Krause is taller. Krause has 80 and 88. Krause can hit. But Krause also has low acceleration. I would say that there is a debate for Holland being over Krause, but I just like the build, the hit power, the zone, and the man, all that together I really do like. Especially if you're someone that runs a majority zone, but when you want to blitz, you're probably in man coverage. And if you want to mix up different looks and things like that, having that man coverage, there definitely is value in that. Strong safety. We have the free Derwin James. W for EA for, not W for EA for making us watching the MCS streams, but they gave us a good free card. I think he's the best right now at this position as far as size goes. COD can be a user, can be an over-the-top guy. Reminds you a lot of the Cam Chancellor that we had earlier this year. So Derwin James, definitely a stud. If you couldn't get your hands on him, it does get kind of disgusting behind it because it's 1.5 mil Tony Jefferson, who's only 5'11", doesn't have 80 zone. Like, this card is good. I would pay $500K for him. I would pay $500. Like, I'm trying not to factor in price, but it just gets so tough too when you have a guy who really doesn't deserve to be what he's going for. He really does not. Like, it doesn't make any sense why his price is what it's at. I mean, it kind of does. Team of the week. This is standard for Madden. But even like Justin Simmons, like, do I love his price? No, but I do think he is probably one of the better options As strong safety. I mean, you probably get away with right now running Ken Houston, Derwin James, and be fine, or Cam Chancellor, Derwin James, and be fine. But it's a pretty thin position. Jeremy Chin's, I wouldn't say he's the best at his position, but the physicals and the size are there. So it's a pretty nasty position again, and we'll see if they position trap us again. And we'll see. Because last year, safeties were absolutely trapped behind a price wall. Kicker, punter, Tucker, and AJ Cole. We don't have anyone else yet, so we're going to have to wait and see on that one. I believe there is a team captain kicker coming, not to spoil, but I believe that there is. So I'll definitely be using that one. I hate paying for kickers. I hate it. I'll never do it. Last year, I was using the 80 overall Martin, or what was it? The theme team Martin, the theme team pack Martin Gramatica. I was using him for the whole year. Yeah, maybe it lost me some games, but I'm not paying for no kicker, okay? It's not happening. It's not. But have a good rest of your day. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you boys in the next one.